None of us like it when home feels chaotic. It feels stressful. Everybody's going in a different direction. Nobody's happy. That's not very lovely, and it's not what we want to see in our homes. So here are 5 things you can start doing today to take your home from chaotic to lovely. Hey friends, I'm Heidi with Heavenly Minded Home, and welcome to today's video. Now, I have a very chaotic home if left to its own devices, right? There's a lot of us here. We're in ministry full time. We work from home. We homeschool. We homestead. There's a lot of moving pieces. And yet, in all of the seeming chaos, we have found a way to turn our home to really just a lovely atmosphere that we all love being in and spending our time in. And we want to seek to find that peace and comfort and togetherness here of our family. And I love sharing about those things. And it's always interesting when I get comments back like, oh, well, you must live alone, right? Nobody else. It must just be that our kids are perfect. My husband and I are perfect. Like everything is just so simple. And that's why, we can say those things. And really, that's not the case. The case is that I want to have a lovely home. I want to have a home in an atmosphere that we all want to be in, that we can really thrive in. And one that's chaotic and stressful and miserable is not one that we want to have in our home. And so I've really tried to be intentional about these 5 things. And when we stick to this, we see that chaos go away and the lovely really start to abound here in our home. And so regardless of where you're at and what's going on, these are 5 things that you can absolutely start implementing today, and you're going to see those results. You're going to see the chaos subside and the lovely really take over. So number 1, what should you do? I think this is the most important to remember when trying to banish the chaos. The most important thing that I think we need to remember is we cannot control anyone else. We can only control us. And so when you have this kind of just atmosphere in your home of chaos or stress, frustration, bickering, whether it's between the kids or maybe it's you and your husband or whatever the situation might be, you can't control anyone else. You can only control you. And so if you start to make a change to your attitude, you're going to see that impact and affect the attitude of your family members. And I think that's something that's so important to remember is I get it. Life is difficult. We run into things. We have our struggles. We have our reasons for the chaos. But if we want the attitude of our home to be one that is calmer, more graceful, more forgiving, more whatever, right? Whatever it is that is missing in your home that you're like, man, we really need to adjust that. It needs to start with you. And so when implementing these changes, it's not about going around and telling everyone, hey, you're gonna talk like this and treat others like this. And it's not necessarily going and trying to throw all of these changes at those in our home around us, but to lead by example and to be the ones to start saying, you know what? I'm gonna have some self-discipline. I'm going to work on myself and be kinder with my words, more encouraging, more uplifting, a little bit calmer, not so stressed out. Your attitude is going to make a big difference in the impact that it has on just that atmosphere of your home and the way that the others will start to follow. And we have to be that lead if we want to see these changes. The second thing that is so important if you want to just kick the chaos from your home is to clear the clutter. It is amazing what simplifying, minimizing, clearing out that physical clutter and chaos really starts to impact the internal clutter and chaos that you're dealing with. I know for me, total ADHD mom over here. I have kiddos ADHD. Like we're very much affected by what's around us, right? Why do you think when you walk into a luxurious hotel or you see these beautiful homes or something on TV, it just, it looks so relaxing and just so beautiful. And you think about how it would just be so calm to just live in a place like that. It's amazing the impact the physical has on us. And so when you're looking at your home and going, this is not the atmosphere I want to have. I want us to come together. I want it to be peaceful. I want it to be, not overwhelming, right? Like I want to see these changes in our home. minimizing, simplifying, getting rid of the excess is going to be a huge key piece in that. And I know that's not necessarily something that can just happen today, but if you'd like some resources and some things to help you out through that process, I'll be sure to leave some links down below that I personally use all the time and implement to make this change in our home. And I know it can be a blessing to others as well. So that link's down in the description. Now, the third point, and arguably one of the most important ones here on the list that is so important for us to remember, again, holding that mirror up and looking at ourselves first, and then, our children, our family, is to lessen the amount of influence. This one is so huge. It is so important. And it's something that we're going to have to do continuously, right? Over and over. You don't just do it once and done. You have to continue doing this. My husband and I were just talking about how we need to be doing this in our own home. So I get it. It happens. Things creep in. But so many times when we're starting to see just attitudes, discontent, bickering, just, this atmosphere that I don't think any of us really want for our homes, a lot of times that has to do with the influence that's coming in. Now, that can be the TV that everybody's watching, the music that people are listening to, the games people are playing, the people that we're hanging out with, those that we're letting influence us, because we're all being influenced by something, right? When we start to look at that, the activities we're partaking in, the things we're prioritizing, a really easy way is to be able to look at where you're spending the most of your time and the most of your money. Those are the things that, whether you've realized it or not, are the influences that you're prioritizing. And so when we look at that, we need to take a really honest kind of evaluation and say, are these the types of influences that we should be having? Is this the amount of influence that we should be having? And to look at those and say, maybe it's time to scale back. Maybe it's time to put some restrictions, right? Maybe it's time to get a little self-disciplined yourself and put the screen away. And I get it. Detoxing from screen time can be really difficult. I will leave a video. I think I have a couple videos down below of things that our family does to try to help us through that. We'll leave that down below if that can be a blessing to you. But you need to lessen the influence that's coming into your home by whatever means necessary if you're going to truly create this lovely, instead of chaotic, home space and atmosphere that you want for your family. All right, now I'm not just saying strip everything away from everyone and end of story. No, we got to keep going here. That leads us to step number 4 if you want to start making this impact here today, is as we remove those influences, we remove those just things that are pulling us apart, pulling us in different directions, causing bickering, causing attitudes, causing discontent, whatever it may be, we need to add in more time together. I think we have it so backwards in our society today, and I could talk about this all day long, but the family unit spends more time separated than it does together. And then we wonder why our families are falling apart. We wonder why marriages are so strained. We wonder why most parents think their kids are brats and they can't wait to ship them off for the day because their kids drive them nuts. We don't prioritize our time together. We don't build up those strong relationships. And I get that it can be difficult. If your family is really strained and these things all seem very just out of the ordinary for you, it can take a little bit of time to build this here. But I think it's so important that we make a intentional focus on our time together to say, hey, as much time as we can, I want us to be together. Not everybody going off in a different direction, going off on their different playing field, but everybody together. What are things that we can do, right? What are interests of your children that you can start to pay attention to and learn about? What are activities that you can do together? This doesn't have to be extravagant, right? It can be going for a walk in the evening. It could be playing board games together or getting interested in a hobby or something that we can all do together. Now, you might have to, stretch a little bit, right? Maybe it's not what your first choice would be, but that's not the point. The point is, what is something that we all can find mutual interest in, that we all can get involved with and keep doing? Sometimes you got to keep trying it a few times before you kind of get everybody on board. But it's so important, I think, that we start to put that focus and say, I want more time together. I want to get creative. I want to explore. I want to question. I want to have conversations and be that safe space for our family that we all look forward to coming together and being with one another versus always splitting off in a different direction. Now, don't get overwhelmed by that fourth point, because I'm telling you, there's so many simple ways that we can start to weave in the lovely when we start applying these tactics and really just nurturing our home and those within it. And a great way to do this, right? It's one of the most tried and true, works across all cultures, all generations. It makes such a big impact. And that is to prioritize meals together. I'm telling you, it really does make a difference. Making them lovely, slowing them down, being together, gathering around the table, literally coming together is such a special thing that we can do to help just create this atmosphere of lovely. It's not chaotic, we're not all on the run, it's not stressful, it's not anything like that. It can be ridiculously simple. Taking a couple minutes to do something like maybe it's, pulling out the nice glassware or putting, for me, I love collecting vintage china and being able to set that out on the table. It just feels so nice. Sometimes it's putting out a tray with some, cheeses or something as an appetizer. I don't know, something about it just feels lovely, and kind of, turning on some soft music or something like that to kind of just invite everybody to come around. I think most of us think of, holidays or something. We think of a beautiful table spread and a lovely meal and, kind of all of that nostalgia of gathering, but we can create that in our home every day. Now, most of our meals are very simple. A lot of times we eat a carnivore diet, so it's pretty boring, honestly, if you look at the foods we eat on the norm, but we all gather. We all sit down, we do some sort of, dessert or treat afterwards, just something that feels lovely, that everybody will pile in here at the table, come together and sit around and eat and chat and share, maybe play a game, do something. And it's such a great anchor point for the day to all gather. And so when we're trying to remove the chaotic, remove the stress, remove the bickering and all the points that we just don't want our homes filled with, and to create this atmosphere where we love being at home, we love gathering together, we love being with one another and strengthening our relationships. And gathering around the table for a meal is always a great way to help grow that. So friends, I hope these 5 things can be something that you can start implementing today, that you can start working through so that you can kick the chaos from your home and start to build up that lovely atmosphere that you just love being in, and to grow those relationships with your family, and to just build up that space, that atmosphere that everybody wants to be in. They find peace and comfort in that. That's something worth investing in, and I hope that these truly can be things that help you here today. Now, a little extra dose of loveliness for you. I have some free resources I've put together that I truly believe can be a blessing to you in your home, and so let me go ahead and leave you some info on that. Otherwise, we'll see you all in the next video. Bye, friends!